and welcome to yet another Expa. This is episode 68, recording live from my room in Berlin. I am Hermes. How are you doing? Thank you for stopping by. Sorry it took a week to record, but life has been life. Sometimes life is life and there is no time. This was one of them. But I have prepared a few things for you from the past weeks. Starting with, this is something that really annoys me. People who cut in line. Okay, we can already agree that this is an annoying category. But specifically, when people cut in line by asking one person for permission to enter in front of them. How is that a thing? What is that? Have you ever had that happen to you? What is that? How does one person get to decide for all of us in the back? I never understood this. I always find it so bizarre. A woman did this at the airport. We were waiting for the security check-in, and apparently it was very slow because the police caught someone. I don't know why, but she came out of nowhere, asked the person in front of me. We were in the middle of the line, already waiting for like 20 minutes. She said, "Can I please come here because, I'm in a rush." Everyone was in a rush. The person says, "Okay," she sits there. I don't get it. When did we decide that any person who is in a line can just decide to screw everyone behind him? Someone could stay in line and just keep adding people in front of them. I could have a fee, €3, and I put you in front of me in line. This is such a flawed system. I could do it indefinitely. And okay, I understand. If the woman was losing her flight, it makes sense, but she didn't ask any of us. I would have said yes if she looked behind at the rest of the queue and said, "Hey everyone, sorry, I really need to go." That would have been okay, because it's not that I wouldn't let her in, I just would have liked to be considered. And I don't like that someone in front of me can just decide something against my best interest without me having a say. So anyway, my opinion is if you're holding a spot in line, you don't have the right to put anyone in front of you or behind you if there is a bigger line. What you can do is to pretend someone is your friend and you have an appointment there, and then they get to join you in the line wherever you are. But that's as far as it can go. Now, taking a step back, thanks for listening to this podcast. Some of you listen to it because you like the personal stories or the random thoughts. You might like the news from Berlin or some news from Greece. You might like me. It might be a mix. So I was looking at my notes, and my notes don't always make sense. And this is a very big part of improv on top of my notes. But I had this note that I'm now 33. I feel life changing so much. I became also a father now, and we have a baby and all of that. But I had this thought in my bed. I started missing things in a very violent way, like this hanging out with my friends, because we used to hang out all the time, being, 17, 18, 20, not having a care in the world, just sitting in a couch in a house for your day, thinking if you should do something, anything or nothing. And somehow this feeling of freedom and I don't need to really do anything, or I can just choose what I want to do or not with my friends, that's gone. That life is behind me. And now I'm seeing my friends, especially not living in Greece anymore, I see them once or twice a year. So time is never enough now. Like when you see people, you see them with joy and with sadness because the intervals are so big. It's never the full-on casual vibing of nothingness. And in a way, it's lonely. This is what I was thinking. Life after 30s can be lonely this way, that it's work, it's bills, it's stress, existential angst, and health problems, and the world is going to shit. And I just was nostalgic about this time in my life that I could just hang out as a student and that would be it. Just hanging out, ordering something or watching a movie and just killing time, not a care in the world. So, yes, I found myself very strongly missing that time and realizing that it's gone in a way forever. Now, when I have available time, I need to choose where I invest it in. It's much more conscious, it's more targeted. And many times you invest your time to yourself, right? So you go for a walk, you go buy something, you do some admin, whatever gives you joy. And it's nice to invest time in yourself, but it's not the same. This careless chilling that has been a joyful part of my life before. Hopefully in the future, maybe this podcast makes me a millionaire, maybe other things happened, I don't know. But for now, we need to grind and hustle and do self-care, but also work and pay the bills and all of that. And sometimes, I went to a comedy show from Victor Patrascan, the one that does the stuff in broken English. And he does a lot of crowd work. He talks to the people in the audience. And there was one, I think she was a therapist. So she asked her, what is your advice? There is so much happening in the world. We are surrounded by so much tragedy. We're surrounded by all the to-dos. It can feel daunting. What can we do? And it was interesting. She said that what you need to try to do is to try to find joy. It was interesting that she chose something so specific. So she said you need to try to find joy in the little moments, in the breaks in between, in whatever it is, but try to bring joy in your life because joy is resistance. And I like that line. That line stuck with me. I do think that joy is resistance. And of course, you can find situations where this line will not apply if you talk to someone who has been through insane tragedies, the country being at war and all of that. Maybe they say, God damn you, it's not joy that is resistance, is speaking up, is going to demonstrations, is saying what's right. And of course, that would be right. But in a less strict way, I do think that joy is resistance. So this is one thing I'm trying to keep with me. And perhaps you want to keep it with you in your busy lives. Looking a little bit on the Berlin/German side of things, here's a few things going on. I'm sorry to laugh. Mahatma Gandhi's bronze glasses were stolen. So there is the face of Mahatma Gandhi in the Mauer Museum near Checkpoint Charlie, and someone managed to remove the bronze glasses from the statue. I don't know how they did it, but now Gandhi has no glasses. I don't know who would do it. I condemn the action, okay? But I also find it ridiculous. The glasses are a big part of Gandhi's visual identity. Now he just looks like some old guy. And who would steal the glasses? Maybe it was a drunk bet. But this happened beginning of August. And the police is treating this as a particularly serious theft, are requesting information for anyone who may have seen such items offered for sale, used as collateral, or otherwise exchanged. Used as collateral, that's great. Oh, you know what? I don't have cash on me, but how about I give you Gandhi's glasses? So if you spot it on Kleinanzeigen or anywhere, know that A, it's the real thing, and B, you should report it. Now, this is not the only thing that's happening in Berlin. In case you missed it, there will be some new fines for environmental protection. As someone living in the south part of Neukölln, I feel that these fines will be everywhere around me. But listen to this. 100 and plus euros if you leave a mattress on the streets. 250 euros for cigarette butts, disposable cups, drink cartons, or packaging materials. 250 euros, that's a lot of money. Then, if you have a dog and you don't pick up the shit of your dog, first of all, you're a shit person. You make people hate people with dogs and dogs themselves just because you are lazy. And with this new law, you will pay up to 350 euros as a fine for dog waste or abandoned dog waste. Sadly, a huge part of Berlin's identity, these boxes, cardboard boxes that say Schengen with all the things you can just get for free inside there, they are also now forbidden. There will be fines from 300 euros to 1,500 euros. Now, that's a lot of euros, and there are so many random cardboard boxes left with shit stuff inside around where I live that I'm wondering how it will be. It's also funny that if you see a cardboard box to Schengen in other districts, quality of the items tends to be much better. Not that I'm complaining, but I always thought if I want to get rid of my shit, I can put it in a cardboard box, say, to Schengen, so this is things for free to take and leave it down. But now it's illegal, 300 euros up to 1.5k. The rules are there. For them to come into effect, the Council of Mayors needs to do some final decisions. So it might be that the enforcement is still unclear, but the fines are voted. So this is one update. The second update, and here, please, feel free to correct me or help me out. The A100 is this big highway that goes around Berlin. I complained about it some time ago, and a lot of people complain about it because it sucks. It's not fast. They are doing construction all the time. There is traffic jams all the time. But apparently, after 12 years of construction, they gave a part that is 3.2 kilometers. Do you know how much is 3.2 kilometers? You could walk 3.2 kilometers. But it took them 12 years to build this 3.2 kilometers. And how much money? How much money do you think it takes to build 3.2 kilometers of road? 721 millions. 721 millions. Which means that for every 10 meters of this road, the price was 2.5 million. Let that sink in. But the thing is, okay, they made this part of the road, they released it, but for some reason, it's not helping at all. It's creating a huge traffic jam because even though they released it where that part of the highway ends up, the part of the city it feeds into is not ready for that, so things get blocked everywhere. So everyone is complaining, memes are being born, people take videos of the cars, all of them stuck. So this is kind of like a Berlin laughing joke. 12 years, 720 millions for 3 kilometers of road that still brings traffic jams everywhere. If someone knows more, feel free to inform the rest of us. This is a little bit about Berlin. As I said, I also had to fly. I went to Amsterdam. That's why I was at the airport when the person in front of me thought they can get to let other people cut in line without consulting the rest of us. But I have to say, two things. One is about Amsterdam. I saw one thing I want to mention. They had free sunscreen stations on the street. I've never heard of this concept. I understand the Dutch people can probably get burned very easily. I also know Denmark had made a very fun commercial one summer that was saying to the Greeks, if you see a Dane, please put some sunscreen on them because they forget. They don't know how dangerous the sun is. But there were free sunscreen stations. They looked like these, public fountains or public disinfection things where you just go and put your hands and then it would give you sunscreen. How cool is that? What a simple thing to do of such high value and so appreciated. If I'm outside and the sun is burning and I can just get a splash of sunscreen, put it on my face, put it on my balding head because I forgot to wear a cap, that would be divine. If someone gave me this in a city, I would vote for them again. I don't care about anything else. You gave me a free splash of sunscreen. It looked like putting, soap from a dispenser. That's it. How much does it take? You can just buy a few gallons of sunscreen. Lovely initiative. Sounds very altruistic, humanitarian, I don't know, like nice. At the end of the day, though, it is within their interest. If you give sunscreen to your population, you reduce the risk of cancer. And then your public healthcare system doesn't have to have a lot of patients. It's a smart technique to keep people protected and be proactive so you don't get the cost of that in the future. This is what Japan did as well. Crazy aging population. You don't want all these people being sick. So they really did this huge campaign to stop smoking because Japan was smoking so much. And yeah, it's just a good thing to not have an aging population that's also in much need of the healthcare system. Speaking of that, if you live in Europe, one account you should consider following on Instagram, that's what I use, is the Eurostat account. The Eurostat is the agency of the EU that does statistics, and they basically, the only posts they do are graphs about things with all the European countries ranked. So it's good to see where things are ranking. Now, as a Greek, I'm used to seeing Greece always at the bottom. I always need to scroll down somewhere there between Bulgaria and Romania to see how low we are ranking. But give Eurostat a go, it can be unexpectedly interesting. Now, I saw a graph that showed the different countries over time and the number of people they have smoking. And I was proud that for the first time, Greece had a first position somewhere. So since 2006, Greece has been number one in smoking. 2007, Greece. 2008, 2009, 2010, all the way until 2022, Greece has been the number one in smoking in the EU. And then in 2023, Bulgaria stole the lead for a tiny bit. Okay? So I want to say, my fellow Greek brothers and sisters, we are the last in every statistic. Let us get a gold medal for once. You know how much we love smoking. We love it more than the Bulgarians. We love our smoking inside the bars. We love our smoking inside the restaurants. We love our smoking in summer theaters. So don't let us lose for a few points to Bulgaria. Now, I gave up smoking a few years ago, so I know I'm not helping. And I'm so sure that the Greek healthcare system is so ready to take the biggest smoking population in account when they become aging, especially now that Greece has the biggest drop of population and new births that has been recorded in some time. It's a scary drop. Schools are closing. Population is shrinking. Whoever didn't live, like me, is struggling to have even one child because of the economic disparity. So maybe we can let Bulgaria be first. You know what? If everyone is smoking, then when everyone gets old, there will be so many health problems that our healthcare system that is already attacked in so many ways by the government that try to shrink it and privatize it and make it more expensive and make it less inclusive and make it less people-friendly, that everyone will have a really bad time getting some proper help. So maybe letting Bulgaria get the first place and starting to walk a little bit more and putting sunscreen on our face like the Amsterdam people is the way to go. But what do I know? I don't know anything. Now, at this point, you're probably bored of hearing me talk about airport stories, and you will say, why don't you put all the airport stories up your ass, or at least in one place, so you don't need to skip back and forth? And to that I say, come help me edit, because I don't have time. But here's this one last thing I will say about the airports. I arrived back to Berlin. I needed to pee. I was still at the place you collect the suitcases. I wasn't yet out of the restricted part. I go in the toilet. I go to wash my hands, right? And then I see that the big device on the wall that they have sometime in public bathrooms that is selling toothbrushes, okay? And that makes sense. Maybe you arrived, maybe someone is waiting for you outside on that door with a bouquet of flowers, and you don't know where your toothbrush is, and you need a tiny toothbrush and all of that. And I kept looking at that big machine to see what else it's selling. And it was selling also condoms, okay? Nothing too weird here. A lot of these big machines at toilets also have condoms in there. But then, I swear to you, if you are at the conveyor belt in the Berlin go to that bathroom, right next to a small children place that basically have a TV on the wall and nothing else. What a great children place. Go in the toilets and you will see that that machine is selling bullet anal butt plugs. Okay? And this is where this episode gets fully demonetized and shadow banned. But this is what it's selling. I need to say it. An anal butt plug is being on sale on the airport toilet. Like, who is this person? Who is this person that arrives in a new country or back to their country, and their first thought after a flight is, why did I put something in my ass? Why? I think there's something missing. This toilet is not even outside. You're still before customs. Someone could still body search you. You're waiting for your suitcases. Can't you just wait? Can't you just wait to get your suitcases before putting a bullet anal butt plug in your butt? But this is what the first toilet you see, the first toilet that you arrive, this is what they're selling in there. Toothbrush, condoms, and anal butt plugs. Welcome to Berlin. Now, I will end today's podcast with the recent visit I had. Just before I recorded, I went and did a baby first aid course. This is something we wanted to do for a long time. Leonidas, our lovely baby, is now 7 months old, so he has started a little bit with puree things in his mouth. And that makes it very scary for choking and all of that. So we're both doing a first aid course. Now, I will just give you the weird highlights. I looked for an English-speaking baby first aid course. And the one that pops up, the most famous one, first of all, it's done in a church. Interesting place, I would say. Teaching science and medicine in a church. The times we live in. And then I did the class, and here's a highlight. There is this weird thing called water immersion, and babies have it. And it's almost like a death wish. Water immersion is a reflex of babies that when if for any reason their head falls in water, they just stay there. They don't try to move. They don't try to turn around. They just stay in the water without breathing. And you can guess what happens after. And this is not just for babies, because you would think, okay, a baby maybe thinks they're still in the womb or whatever. This happens to kids up until the age of 6. And this is why they say when you're on the beach, you need to not leave your sight, not leave the kid from your sight, because they can drown in shallow water. And the reason why they can drown in shallow water is also because of this weird water immersion response. So it could be that a 6-year-old child, for whatever reason, goes face in the water and they open their hands and they stay there. We don't know why this happens. I don't know why nature is keeping that in for so long. Maybe it made sense when a very young baby comes out of the womb because everything there is water, so maybe they feel nice in there. But this is one of the biggest reasons why kids get drowned in shallow water. Water immersion. Beautiful. Like a baby's death wish when they see water. They can even drown in a puddle if they put their face in. They just keep their face in. So weird. Other weird things, if you're doing CPR to a baby, you need to blow so little that I was surprised. If you cannot just blow, it's too much pressure for them. And then you need to use your fingers to do CPR. Not your hands, not your palms. You just push with 2 fingers there. Babies are fun. Babies are tiny. And what else? They told us a lot of things, but I'm just saying my personal highlights. If the baby is vomiting and you think it might be poisoned, ate something, drank something, you are highly advised to keep the vomit with you. So pack up your vomit and take it with you to the hospital as well. Now, I'm just throwing this out there. The most dangerous things for babies to eat, first of all, is medicine. If kids find medicine in the house, they just take it. The second thing is tobacco. Tobacco is very dangerous and toxic. So if they find tobacco or even a cigarette butt on the street, whatever it is, tobacco is number 2. And number 3 is cleaning products. And apparently one of the things that really make them interesting for kids is that they often have, the cleaning product has a print in the front that shows fruit. It shows flowers, it can show a lemon, it can show an orange. And then kids or babies think that, hey, I eat oranges, come here. And lastly, on things that you eat, most things will come out. But if the baby is eating batteries, you need to rush to the hospital. You have about 2 hours before things get very nasty. And magnets, which is apparently very common. Now listen to this. If your kid swallows one magnet, you're good. It's fine. They will eventually poop it out. If for whatever reason your kid swallows 2 magnets, then it's completely different. You need to rush to the hospital because 2 magnets, as you might guess, can attract each other. So maybe they block part of the stomach, maybe they block part of the intestines. You don't know if they are interacting or not. And if you go to the hospital with 2 magnets, the doctors will literally check every few hours as the magnets get passed through to see if the magnets interact at any point. Because if they do, then maybe they need to operate. Very fun stuff, of course. Calling all the services, which is a very important part of first aid. You need to call, you need to report the poison center, the emergency services. I just realized that they probably all speak German. So that's an extra barrier. Because when you call, you need to say, this is the situation, this is where we are, and all of that. But lastly, FYI, if you didn't know, now you know, many plants are toxic to babies and kids. So, if you're entering the beautiful journey of parental life and all the things you have to know that you didn't think you have to know, you will find yourself Googling all your plants to understand if they're toxic or not, and how toxic. Is it just bad stomach, or does it get, even more dangerous? So this is life. I did try to find joy, because joy is resistance. The woman giving the first aid course was not a joker. She wasn't joking around. Her hands were on her waist. And despite our joke attempts as a group of parents, she was very serious, which is fine. Here's my last advice to all of you. If you want to make a lot of money, find one thing that is about parents. It could be a baby preparation course. It could be a baby massage. It could be a baby first aid. It could be just find your own baby class. And then here's the twist. Instead of teaching the class itself, just make the parents interact. Parents are so socially deprived. They are longing so much to just talk with someone. This is what I've seen from every single type of class I have attended. The best part is when they say, okay, let's do intros. Who are you? You go on a break to have a coffee and you talk with each other. And this is the gap. The longing for connection is there. It's masked through the class. Of course, you have useful information that you learn, especially in the baby first aid, but you could have something more hipsterish. And the real need of the parents there is to connect. You can still teach them a few things, give them a flyer so they remember, give them a certificate of attendance, but they will be completely happy to just interact in between. So do long breaks and you will be good. They will be satisfied. But okay, I'll wrap it up here. Thank you so much for sticking around. The number one way to get a podcast out there is by word of mouth. So please use your mouth and the word and put it out there. Share it with your friends if you like it. Share it to your enemies if you don't like it. Write a comment on Spotify. Rate the show if you haven't. And have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you very much. I have been me, you have been you, and I'll see you next time. Until then, ciao!